This video is an instruction on how to divide one polynomial by another polynomial. I know just by using the word polynomial that confuses you, with this more vocab. But remember, a polynomial is a formula that has x's in it and it has powers, but there isn't anything else super tricky. The powers have to be whole numbers and they have to be positive, so we don't have to worry about fractional exponents or negative. So as you can see, both of these are polynomials because they just have whole number powers that are positive. Let's go ahead and look at this simple example. And the way that I always think about polynomial division is it's going to be another polynomial. And this is the same thing as this problem that I'm going to have. Well, let me just go ahead and write this out. I'm trying to be lazy here. This division problem that we're starting with is the same as this multiplication problem, where I have the answer. The green part times the red part is going to be equal to blue. Those are completely equivalent. That a division problem is just like a multiplication problem. And the explanation I have for this is, 8 divided by 2, when you worked on this way back in the day, what you really probably thought about was 2 times what gives me 8. I mean, I know you know now that 8 divided by 2 is 4, but if you turn it back into a multiplication problem, it can be pretty, give you something that's a little bit easier. And that's what we're going to do here. So what I want is a multiplication problem, which to me means generic rectangle. That's how I do multiplication problems, where the red out here times the green is my answer. I don't know what that is going to equal the blue. And the blue stuff is going to be all this stuff on the inside. So I don't know exactly how this is going to work out, but this stuff needs to be on the inside. So that's what I'm searching for. I'm going to go ahead and erase the blue because the arrangement is what I need to work on in order to get the green. So just because you know one of the factors here, x minus 2, that's what we're dividing by in the original problem, I know that that's the side I'm going to work on the green. Now, another thing I know is the first term of the blue, the x cubed, always goes in this top box just because of the way that I order things. So because of that, I can start to fill in this. I know the top box, which means I know what goes above that. So I already know part of the green right now. I know that the first term of the green is x squared. Where did I get that? Well, the x times what would give me x cubed? Well, I figured out that had to be x squared. Then I can figure out what goes below the x cubed because I just have to multiply top and bottom. Negative 2 times x squared. Another pattern I've noticed for these is the diagonals add up. They're always like terms. And so what I need to put in this box is a 4x squared. Where did I get that? Well, I know that the blue has to be the inside, and I know that what I already have, negative 2x squared, has to add with whatever needed to go there to equal this 2x squared. So I just think about it in my head, okay, negative 2x squared plus what will give me positive 2? Well, that's a positive 4. Then again, since I have the top box, I can figure out the next term of the green. This is going to be plus 4x. Where did I get that? Well, x, the red on the side, times what goes on the top in green will give me 4x squared, well, 4x. And you can just kind of guess and check. All right, then again, I can fill out the box below it, which is negative 8x. Then I do the whole diagonal thing to say what would have to add up to that. It would have to be a positive x, because again, I'm looking at the next term of the blue off to the side, which is negative 7x. I have to combine that to get that. Okay, so what does that give me? The next term of the green is plus 1, and so that puts this last box at negative 2. All right, so I'm done, and the reason why I know is I got this negative 2 here, and that is the last term of the blue, so I know that I've divided, and it divides evenly, and I don't need any more of my generic rectangle, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. So what's my answer? What's the green? Well, it's easy because I have it color-coded, but the answer is x squared minus 4. sorry, x squared plus 4x plus 1. So whatever's on the top ends up being your answer. Let's go ahead and look at a less simple example. This one is bigger. I'm going to do this one quite a bit faster, but I'm going to use the same idea. So again, the 3x minus 1 goes on the side here. I don't know what goes on the top, but I do know that the first term of the inside has to be 6x to the 4th, so that goes there. So when I fill out the top, it's going to be 2x cubed. Just kind of guess and check to figure out what would give me the 6x to the 4th, and that's what works out. Then the bottom, just have to multiply base times height, negative 2x cubed. And diagonals add up. So this next term that I can figure out would be negative 3x cubed. How did I know that? Well, it had to combine together to be the part in the answer that I just put an arrow next to. All right, then I can fill out the top, which has to be negative x squared, or negative 1x squared, because that's what makes that box work out. Then multiplying base times height, I get x squared. Then again, the diagonals need to add up to the next term, which is 10x squared in the answer. So I put 9x squared there, which to get that to work out means the top has to be 3x. And then I can fill out the bottom box, which is negative 3x. Again, using the diagonal idea, I want to have negative 18x, and so far I have negative 3, so just using guess and check, figuring out what works there. Negative 15 would add up the right way. That puts the top as a negative 5, because then base times height gives me what I need. And base times height for the bottom, I get 5, and I am done since that matches up with the 5 that's there. If you don't get the 5 to match up, and you know it divides evenly, then you know you've made a mistake. However, we have done some that don't divide evenly, and you have a remainder. So what's my answer? My answer to this division problem is what's at the top. That's the part that I filled in. Everything else I kind of knew ahead of time. I knew the inside of the box, even though I didn't know what order everything went in, and I knew the side, 3x minus 1. Go ahead and pause the video and try these on your own. Let's go ahead and see how you did. I didn't work these ahead of time, so give me a second to make my generic rectangle. But the answer for the first one, x to the 5th minus 1 divided by, just went too far here, x minus 1 would be a generic rectangle like this. X minus 1 goes on the side, and the first term will be x to the 5th. X to the 4th needs to go on top. Let's see, minus x to the 4th. I don't have any x to the 4th, which means I need a positive 1 right there to make it cancel out to be 0. That puts the top as x cubed, and this would be negative x cubed, which again, using the diagonal idea, means I need a positive x cubed there, because I don't have any x cubes in my answer either. Puts an x squared right there, makes this negative x squared. I need more boxes, so I'm going to just expand my generic rectangle here. I need a positive x squared to go there, because again, I have no x squareds in my final answer, which puts this as x, which makes that negative x. Man, I feel like deja vu here. There's a lot of the same kind of stuff. You need to put an x there to get it to cancel out. Puts a 1 there, which puts a minus 1 right there, which is exactly what I wanted. So, my final answer, x to the 4th plus x cubed plus x squared plus x plus 1 is what that ends up equaling. I'm going to go ahead and erase that to put in the next problem. Next problem is x to the 4th minus 6x cubed plus 18x minus 4 divided by x minus 2. X minus 2 goes there. First term is x to the 4th, so that goes in this one right here, which means I have to put an x cubed on the top there. So that gives me that bottom box. What's this supposed to equal again? Maybe I should just copy this to the next page. This is what the inside should be equal to. Go back and make sure I copied that down right. Minus x. So I got it right except for minus 4. Alright, so that needs to combine, figure out what needs to go in the top of the generic rectangle, not on the top, but in the top. Negative 4x cubed. That makes the top on the top. Negative 4x squared, which means I'm going to need 8x squared right here. I don't have any x squareds in my answer, which means I'm going to have negative 8x squared here to cancel out, which means the top has to be negative 8x, which puts 16x right here, which means I need 2x right there, 2 on the top, and negative 4. That all worked out perfectly. That's good. So my answer is x cubed minus 4x squared minus 8x plus 2 when I divide those two. So, can you divide these two polynomials now? If you can, fantastic. If not, watch the video again or keep working on this in some other